Hi there, it's Susan Winter. I have a discussion for you today that I think is important. Happiness. Are you a happy person? Do you consider yourself to be optimistic, positive? I had a lovely conversation with a colleague of mine and a friend, Neil Wood, which is in a longer edition of an interview, but I thought I'd like to recap some of the most important points and some of the takeaways. And sometimes I think of things that didn't occur within an interview that I want to share with you. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I I've never considered myself to be a happy person. I'm not unhappy, but I think of happy people like they're always happy-go-lucky and easygoing. I'm not that. I know that. I know that I'm too much of a perfectionist and I am self-critical. And I think it's important that all of us yapping in all these different social media formats, whether it's YouTube or it's a podcast, I think it's important that we tell you the truth on where we are because nobody's done, nobody's perfect, nobody's fixed, nobody's got it all together. So I'm a little wistful, I think. I think that goes back to being an only child, playing in my room by myself, horses and dogs for companions, and adults. And I think this wistful nature is one of self-reflection. However, it's not sadness. But what offsets that is a very strong sense of positive thinking. It's easy for me to be positive. But not only is it easy for me to be positive, I've cultivated it. And we can actually cultivate happiness, optimism, and positive thinking, and being a positive person in general, so that when something happens that's difficult, rather than the, oh my God, it's terrible, the rumination and the self-criticism and all the, all the what ifs and the imagination running wild, we can actually stop ourselves because there are things that we can do to snap ourselves out of a negative downward spiral, whether it's rumination, obsession, self-criticism, comparison. So these are some of the things that I think will help you and me and all of us. And I'm going to practice them as well. I mean, if I'm here telling you about this, I better be doing it in my time as well. So being a happy person means that when there is a story that's occurring, you will see what it is. You're not putting your head into the sand, but you are looking at the 360 and trying not to see it through a slant that is creating you as the victim. There are a lot of moving parts in every story, and the stories that we tell, if they're negative, are heavy. It's like something we're carrying on our back, and we're just dragging this stuff along. And I know people, senior citizens, that can go on and on and on for hours about stuff that happened when they were a kid. Adult men complaining about daddy. Okay? You're a senior citizen. Done. Time is done. So what we do is we take our stories and we look at them. And we have to remember to judge from the time in which they occurred. You knew what you knew at the time. Could you have made different decisions? But then the question is, how did that decision serve you? You may think, looking today, well, if I had just married Ralph because I had a chance to marry Ralph and I didn't, and instead I wasted time with 10 other guys that didn't amount to anything. At the time, there was a reason for that. All right, let's say worst case scenario, low self-esteem. Okay, do you know that now? Can you do something about it? But how do we know? How do we know what the real thing is? Because oftentimes when we berate ourselves for not making one choice, later in life, upon reflection, we actually realize that at the time, the choices we made were serving us. Maybe because you didn't settle down with that one person that is now so successful and you're like, maybe you wanted to be free. Maybe you saw somebody, acknowledged they were a great partner, and just thought, I'm not ready. I want to taste this. I want to do that. I want to live a little bit. Okay. So every decision we make, please don't think that everything is self-sabotage. It's not. We make decisions according to our dominant desire and need at the time. So that's one. In self-review with the stories, we got to let go of the stories. Number two, you catch yourself telling a story that's bringing you down and making you unhappy, you can interrupt it. You have to interrupt it. And this is where mental discipline comes into play. The minute you catch that thought, you're going back into a loop, whether it's obsessing about an ex, it's thinking about the job that passed you by, it's about some unfairness, somebody did something to you, they betrayed you. It doesn't help. It was bad enough you lived through it the first time. And I know there's some kind of a track that we get on and it just sucks you in. It's like a Dyson, just something triggers you, you think about it, and before you know it, you're in that loop, right? So we have to catch ourselves and understand mentally there is no good thing that's going to happen now because we're replaying this in our mind. But it is like a thought grabbing traction. Every time we indulge that negative thought of what we could have done better, we should have done better, we should have gone left when we went right, what we're doing is taking a casual footpath and turning it into an autobahn that our thought system will. And the more we travel down those pathways, the stronger that pull becomes and the harder it is to break. So if you can catch a negative thought, jump on it. I describe it in something else that I did as like you realize you're on the subway, on a train. You're going the wrong direction. So what you do is you're like, wait, let me get off at the next stop. If you can interrupt it, that will serve you so well. We do not want to indulge negative loop ruminations. So mental discipline, there's another aspect to this, and it's fun. And I don't do it enough, and I'm really inspired to do it more. I've learned to do it in golf, and I'll tell you what it is. So I had a fabulous golf pro that every time he'd hit a great shot, and he was a professional, like a PGA player, right? I'd see him go, and he'd puff, like the way guys, he'd just puff up. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm anchoring. I'm like, what's anchoring? So he was taking in the positive moment where he had a good outcome. He was drinking it in. He was marinating in this fantastic achievement. And he was anchoring it emotionally, visually, and in his body. Now, anchoring in this way, a positive, beautiful experience. It could be the sunshine is coming in the morning, you're having a cup of coffee and you're on a comfy sofa and you just take a moment to think, this is beautiful. This stuff is the juice. That's the safety net income you have when your bank account is being pulled because of negative people and challenging events. This is money in your emotional bank, in your mental wellness bank. Anchoring is important. This is why so many people, when they want to be happy, always talk about gratitude. A colleague of mine, Teresa Young, doesn't go to bed at night before she does 10 things for which she is grateful. And she doesn't just write them out and go like, oh, okay, I'm really grateful I woke up this morning. I had a nice shower. The shower was the right temperature. No, she goes into re-experiencing the feeling. Brilliant, right? All this is in all of my interviews that I have coming up. These people are great. So I'm learning so much, not just from my own study, but from the people that I'm talking to. And I just have to share these things with you. We also tend to dismiss being happy as a clear sign of idiocy. If you were smarter, you wouldn't be so happy. Look what's going on in the world. So I thought about this a long time ago. I thought about it in terms of, do I want to have a spiritual life or do I choose to be somebody that's quite clear cut? Nothing exists. Nothing better than this. And Like the happiness thing, I thought, well, if I have to live here and I need to function, how will I best function? From what perspective mentally? So that's why I choose to believe that there's far more than I see with my eyes. There are layers beyond my cognition. There's a lot happening here that I'm just not smart enough to figure out, nor are the rest of us. And the possibility exists for many different variations of what I think reality is. On top of that, I always have the choice to amend, to grow, to change my opinion, and to look again and see even more. With gratitude, I start to become aware of the things for which I am happy and grateful. And no, happiness is not a sign of idiocy. It's a sign of positive thinking. It's a sign of well-being. It's a sign of making a choice, because happiness is a choice. You can choose to be miserable. You can choose to think about the ex that hurt you so much. You can choose to look at everybody that's got everything you don't have and be angry about it. Or you can choose to look at what you do have. You can choose to look at the people that walked into your life that were magnificent and it ended. Okay, but you tasted it. You had it. Would you rather not have had it at all? So happiness is a very smart choice made by smart people who choose to be happy because they function better that way. It's a sign of mental discipline. There are a lot of things during the day that can throw us off. There are a lot of things that can bring us down. But utilizing some of these tools to reroute your thinking and anchor in good experiences, or as some people celebrate. That's why we celebrate things. Celebrate. It anchors it, right? I hope these things help you, because beyond dating and relationships, there are so many things that apply to us personally, which affect how we do in our relationships, how we do in our profession, how we do in our lives. And to have these things and these tools at hand in case you find yourself just being sucked down a rabbit hole of negative thinking. I hope this helps you. Susan Winter for SusanWinter.net. If you like this, leave a comment. Please subscribe. And if you'd like a consultation, go to my website. There are resources for you. There are great books. There are thousands of interviews, hundreds of articles I've written. So that's a wonderful place to connect with me as well. Thank you very much. And you have the right and the ability as an intelligent person to choose to be happy.